What if a story that you thought ended decades ago is actually still being written? Stay tuned for today's episode. This is going to be fun. Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Art of a Meaningful Life. I am Carmen DeValis and your host. You may have noticed recently I have had some guests on the program, which I'm super thrilled about. I'm all about stories, and I love learning about other people and what they're doing, and it just fills my heart. And I hope you feel the same way and have enjoyed those episodes, and there will be more. There will be more. Today, I want to talk a little bit about stories and storytelling and something I'm getting ready to do. Now, by the time you see this, I'm probably have already done it. So there might be an addendum at the end telling you how I did. But I have entered a speakers competition. Now, speaking on stage, I've done. There's a lot of room for improvement, but that's okay. But this is really the first competition I have ever entered. And so for me, this is really stepping out of my comfort zone big time. And however, the way I think about it that has kept me kind of calm, I mean, really, is that I'm 66. I am of the generation that many others also, and, of the time when, as a woman, as a young girl, and a young woman, we were really told to speak when spoken to and to give another person their opportunity to speak and say something if you have something that's really important, but then get used to being interrupted a lot. And so for me, I tended to really fall into the shadows and to be second. And in this way, this was really not a bad thing. This is one of the good byproducts of that, because that's not good. But one of the good things about that is that I became very curious into what people were saying, what their stories were, and that curiosity is really the foundation for creativity. And certainly for years as a nurse, I needed to be very creative in how I helped people and what they had to say to me. I had to listen pretty carefully, right? And not just listen, but watch body language and the whole room. Just as my husband says, you're really good at reading the room and to see what is going on and getting a feel for things. And most definitely, so that's 40 years of my life as a nurse, and then another 10 plus photography, both with photographing people, which I'm going to tell you is a very vulnerable thing to be in front of a camera. Many of you know that when someone goes to, it's one thing to do a selfie, you have full control, right? And then there's another to have a camera pointed at you and someone seeing you from their side of the lens. It's kind of, it makes most people very nervous. And so the art of observing and being present and paying attention to those things is really an art. And I feel kind of the same way in nature. Now, grant you, nature's not shy the way people are. However, for me, it's a matter of, like people would say, how do you look for the best shot? And I will tell you, for me now, maybe certainly in the beginning, but now for the most part, that shot calls to me. It means me being very calm and I don't like to use the word centered, but very centered, and it's a wonderful, almost meditative state. And I will be drawn to the the next image I'm going to photograph will be. And I found that that's the most exciting because I have somewhat of an agenda, but then not really, right? And kind of get called to the garden, and that's how my best work has come about each time, without a doubt. And so where am I going with this? Sometimes I'll go down rabbit holes, and I think this is one of those, but I'm really talking about stories and paying attention, and now I know. So for me to be observant and to stand back and to pay attention to others, that's how I grew up, and being silent myself. And so that is the one advantage to being somewhat silenced and kind of invisible for many, many years. But now I'm 66, you see. And I probably the last at least 5, 10 years, I've come out of my shell and have gotten much more comfortable about saying what I think. Now, I am a ponderer, so I do kind of have to process things, but I'm not running out of the room when someone asks me my opinion anymore. And so to do a speaking contest with 9 other wonderful experienced speakers is quite stepping out, definitely stepping out of my box. And but for me, it's not about the competition for me, honestly. It's about the fact that I'm actually getting on stage to tell a story that is so near and dear to my heart, and to own it, and to be proud to be up there and telling that story. And to have a voice, to have a voice. And are you curious about the story I'm going to tell? Because I think I'll go ahead and I'll tell you, because I began with it. What if the story you thought was written decades ago is actually still being written? And that is exactly what happened to me, because last August, I'm pacing around in here, pacing around, because I had just made a phone call to a family that I met and knew over 40 years ago. And I have looked for them through the years and wasn't able to find them. And I sound a bit like a stalker here, but between LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, a website, I just kept following. And I think I may have actually found them. And so I made a cold call. I called, and I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to say, but in my heart of hearts, I knew I wanted to tell them how important they were to me. And so the phone rings and it's a voice message. And I thought, okay, I got this. I can be cool. And when the voice message is over, I'm like, hi, this is Carmen. Um, and you see, it's already gone bad, right? It's going to the dark side there. And then I just started rattling off how, if December 2nd, 1984, neonatal ICU, Sunrise Hospital means anything to you, then, Randy John is your son. And I was his primary nurse. And I just could never get to you. You guys are just always in my memory and my fondest memories. In fact, stories I just like start to tear up when I would try to tell my family about them, and that they demonstrated such a beautiful love for me and around me, something at a time when I was just so alone in the world, and how much I appreciated them. And I'm not sure I ever told them, because I was just 25 at the time, and I'm not sure that even that idea of the gift that they gave to me had processed. And so I left that crazy voice message and said, I hope you call me back if this is you. And if it's not you, hey, thanks for listening to the very end, because that was just one great phone call. And you know what? About 10 minutes later, the phone rings and it's a 702 area code, which is Las Vegas. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I think it's them. And I'm like, hello, this is Carmen. And I hear some rustling and I think, did I just waste my very best hello, this is Carmen voice? Hello, this is Carmen on a telemarketer. But then I hear some rustling and other rustling and maybe even some tears. And I'm like, Lori, is that you? And sure enough, it was the person I had been trying to reach, both Lori and John, her husband. And the gist of it is what they kept saying over and over was, you just have no idea how in the world could we have forgotten you, because that was my thing. I'm like, I hope you remember me, right, when I called them. And how could we have ever forgotten you? And cited some stories and some things, and how Christmas they say a prayer for me and explain to the grandchildren who I was in their daddy's life. And the baby, who was just like 2.5, 3 pounds, has grown up and has children of his own. And so we're both crying. We're both crying. And I have to say, and this is really the point of all of today's point too, is you just never know how you're going to touch someone else that they never ever forget, that kindness, that love, that compassion. And like in my mind, I was thinking what they had given to me, and I dearly loved them. And and the baby and the family, and just yeah, I never ever forgot. And there were so many families in 40 years of nursing, a lot of people, but this story, especially around Christmas, and I just never got out of my mind. But I didn't imagine that they had the same story, but looked at me as being an integral part of their life and their story as well. What a beautiful, beautiful gift. And so, yes, that story continues on because we've been in contact. And yes, we cry every time. But, we cry, I think, because we shared miracle. We shared a miracle. More than one, probably, during that time where I was their baby's primary nurse. And also because we recognize that we have this amazing story that continues to be told. And what a beautiful thing that is. And so this week, a week from today, actually, when I get up on stage and I tell that story from my heart, I know that there will be some people there touched by that. And who knows then the trickle down effect, right? Exponentially other people tell the story, or maybe they look at their lives different, or their actions different, or who they may impact. And excuse me, what a beautiful thing that is. What a beautiful thing. And so, yeah, competition or not, I'm cool for that. I don't have a hugely competitive side, but when it comes to sharing this story, I am owning it, and excited to hear what everyone else has to say, and to be a part of it. I mean, I could have, if you would have said 10 years ago that I'm going to be doing this, or maybe even 1 year ago that I would be doing this, I'd be like, I don't know. But as soon as I started thinking to it, the right story just popped into my head. And so there you go. I'm doing that. So I think what I'm going to do, even though I'm finishing this today and it's a week, I will record a little bit here to let you know how I did, because I think this is going to air after the my speaking endeavors here. So here we go.
And our last semi-finalist, Carmen Mivelis.